Hello everybody, so today I'm going to teach you guys how to make one of my favorites, a ginger soy spicy mussel dish. It's very Asian, very Chinese actually, and most of the ingredients are very typical in Chinese cuisine, but it's really easy to make, so I thought you guys could follow along and see how it's made. So first of all, I've got some mussels here. These are PEI mussels already rinsed. You can take the beards out if you feel particularly picky about that, and it's also been very thoroughly washed to make sure all of the little dirt that clings onto the surface of the mussel gets washed out. And you can tell that a mussel is really fresh if it's closed like this. And definitely keep that into mind when you're shopping for your mussels. So that's all ready. I'm going to just put it in my pot, and now I'm just going to cut some of the things I'll ultimately put in. First, some scallion, or green onion. So because I don't really have a lot of veggies in here, to make it really pretty, I don't want to cut these really thinly. I actually want them in longer strips, and they'll hold up a little bit better once I put them in the pot. So something like this. These really fatter ones, I can sort of slice them down the middle, and that way it'll be about the same size. Don't worry about perfection, it's really all about the taste in the very end. Okay, so I'll set that aside. Next I want to slice up some ginger. And as finely as you can slice it, the better it is, because the more surface area you have for your ginger, the better the flavor is just going to come out. So I'm going to slice it really thinly. And then I'm going to try to get little slivers of ginger. And because it's so small, when you get a bite in your mouth, it's not going to be overpowering at all. So, alright, so we've got that. And now some jalapeno peppers for the kick. So depending on how spicy you want this to be, you might add a whole one, or you might take the seeds out. I actually want a whole jalapeno plus a seeded jalapeno so that I don't have to have too much heat in here. It really does burn up your stomach otherwise. So I'm just going to carefully remove the seeds this way. Okay. If there's still a little bit left, just run it under some cold water. That'll get rid of it. Now just chop it up. That's my seeded one, and this is going to be my whole one, which I'll just slice like that. Oops. Okay. So now we're ready to put it all into the pot, bit by bit. So the ginger can go in first. You really can't overcook ginger, in my opinion. And we'll start adding some oil. You only need a little bit because most of this is going to get steamed. So the oil is going to settle to the bottom. And you can turn the stove on to high and let it go. Alright, so it's going to take a little bit. So you'll realize in Chinese cuisine, a lot of times ginger and scallion are used together in seafood or fish dishes because it really cuts into the fishiness of the seafood. So that's one of the primary reasons why we add it here. Okay, so the oil has come to a little bit of a sizzle here, so I'm just going to toss it to make sure the mussels heat evenly. And as the mussels open up, some of that liquid is going to come out, and you're going to get a little bit of a broth, which is really yummy. So now I'm going to add in the jalapeno peppers. Wash my hands so the seeds don't get too spicy. And now some salt. Some soy sauce. Just give it a toss to make sure everything is homogeneous. Alright, now you want to put a lid on this so that it can continue steaming. With the lid open, all the steam's just going to come right out, and it's going to be really hard for the mussels to get cooked with that thin layer of oil at the bottom. And now we get to wait. Overcooked, it's going to get really, really tough and leathery in your mouth, and you really don't want that. So just about when it all starts to open up, you can come take a look at the mussels opening up, right? It's just beautiful. Maybe toss it a little bit to make sure that everything's heated evenly. That looks great. So now I can start putting in the final touches of this dish. And what I like to do is put in a little bit of rice wine vinegar. And the reason for this is also reduces the fishiness of whatever's in here. And it adds a little bit of sweetness to it as well. Alright, and then you can add in the scallions. And scallions, of course, we want to add in at the very, very end so it doesn't get really withered and ugly looking. It's more of a garnish as well as for flavor. So just let it coat everything, and already smell this delicious wonderfulness. You can see all this broth coming up. That is something you can save for the next day when you're done with the mussels. You can use it to make some noodles. It's just delicious. It's like heavenly seafood broth. And now we're ready to eat.